So let us offer our proper pranams before we go any further. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharane Devasesha Shanyavare Paskajade Satarane Om Agana Tamarindasya Gyana Gana Shalaka Chaksoan Minitam Gena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapatam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tarati Swapadantiham Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Jita Padakamanam Sri Gudam Vaishtavanscha Sri Rupam Sakachitam Sagana Ragunitam Nitam Stam Sajaivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Varijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Sri Radha Krishna Padam Padadita Sri Vishakanitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Pandotagapati Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vidanavaneshvare Suvano Sutta Devi Pranamami Vahipre Pancha Kalpa Guru Bhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Yo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Narayanam Namaskritya, Nanam Chaiva, Nanoktabhamam, Devam Saraswatam Vyasam, Atoram, Madhiryat, Nasta Priyeso, Abhadreso, Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So Srila Prabhupada's purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:11 is said, Tesham evan nukampartam aham agno jam tamaham nashayam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena bhavasvata. For a devotee who has taken the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart, the Lord gives spiritual enlightenment, known as Jnana-dipa. It's interesting, Jnana-dipa. So like a lamp, shining lamp in the heart. By special mercy from within, this Jnana-dipa is compared to the fire hidden within araṇi wood. I suppose that's wood that's used for jagnas. To perform fire sacrifices, great sages previously did not ignite a fire directly. The fire would be invoked from araṇi wood by mantra. So, generally people are brainwashed or brain polluted, as the case may be, into believing that we now have the highest technology in the history of the planet. Rubbish. This is unknown technology. They can't do it. Scientists can't do it. Philosophers can't do it. Nowadays, even Brahmins can't do it because they're not real Brahmins. Like in the city of Mumbai, there are probably thousands of so-called Brahmin priests, but what are they doing? What is their quality? And some of them not even vegetarian. This is going on. Some of them are drinking wine, and some of them using the proceeds from their jagnas and pujas, not to serve the deity, but to buy bidis. So this is Kali Yuga, this is going on. That this kind of low-grade situation will happen in Kali Yuga only, but previously Brahmins had purity. They were situated in Sanatana Dharma, but now the whole situation has become fallen. So there's hardly any pure Brahmins outside of the Vaishnavas. And we see that even amongst the Vaishnavas, it's a challenge. As, for example, there are so many householders who have taken initiation even, who are grihamati, pious materialists. Maybe they don't drink wine, they certainly don't eat meat, they don't smoke cigarettes, and they don't engage in illicit sex. But they really liked the widescreen Samsung TV. They like that. So that is not grihastra. Okay, if you occasionally watch it, you play Krishna Conscious videos on it, fine. But if it's just for your sense gratification, I'm sorry. That's not grihastra. That's grihamati. When Prabhupada was physically on the planet, none of his disciples watched television. None. Do you get that? If somebody were discovered to be watching television, they'd be treated like a leper, shunned. But it didn't have to happen because, the devotees did not do it. Of course, there was no Samsung widescreen available. Televisions were rather primitive in comparison, but still television was there in the 1970s. Devotees did not watch television. Similarly, especially initiated devotees wouldn't be caught dead wearing street clothes. But now it's no big deal. Initiated devotees come into the temple room to see Radha Rasa Bihari wearing street clothes. Of course, here we see almost all the men are dressed in dhoti and kurta very good. This is first class. Haribol! Come on, Jiv Jago. Haribol! Again, Haribol! Because it pleases Prabhupada. It pleases Krishna. Srila Prabhupada is 100% present here. He does not require a material body to function fully in his own society. A material body is not required. I have to tell you an important narration centered around this temple. Some time ago, there was an elderly lady who was suffering from terminal cancer. Fortunately for her, her family were devotees. It was clear she was going to die. So since they were devotees, they took her to Vrindavan. And they went on full prikram of Sri Vrindavan Dham to all the holy ghats and all the sacred places, everything. Full and complete prikram of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And for some reason they brought her back. They didn't, leave her in Vrindavan. She came back. They brought her back. Family brought her back. And then she left her body in Mumbai. So her sister was from South India somewhere, some village of South India. Her sister came up to Mumbai for the memorial services. So she came here to this temple. And then she came over and offered her pranams to Srila Prabhupada, and she was struck with wonder. She said, I saw him. He came to me in a dream. He said, don't worry about your sister anymore. She is under my protection now. Haribol. Much louder. Haribol. She was not even initiated. But because of her relatives who were devotees, therefore she got the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Try to understand. The mercy of Srila Prabhupada is not some creeping a thing, hard to get. No. He is in the mood of Nityananda Prabhu. Unconditional love, that's Prabhupada. Unconditional love. Doesn't matter if you're a yellow boy. You're getting the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, you have to stick with Prabhupada's program, whether inside or outside the temple. The problem is, people outside the temple, they don't stick, many of them, don't stick with Srila Prabhupada's program. They don't get up early. Many householders don't get up till 6 o'clock in the morning. That's late. You may think, well, 6 o'clock's not bad. No. Should I tell you something really shocking? I know, it's tough for householders, but should I tell you anyways? I'm not saying it's easy. Should I say or not say? It's a bit stark. You know this word stark? It's a bit harsh. But it's Prabhupada. He said, if anyone even pretends to be a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they must rise by 4 o'clock in the morning. Uh-oh. It's not me, it's not the Swami, don't hold me responsible. I'm just repeating what Founder Acharya said. So don't throw rotten tomatoes at me if you're a householder, and I see some people are watching through the video. I suppose that's broadcast, right? Broadcast? Yes, no? So those householders who are hearing this class, please don't throw rotten tomatoes and eggs at me, because it's not my fault, it's ISKCON Founder Acharya. This is what's known as a reality check. So, okay, spiritual life means to rise early in the morning. Then we try to chant best we can. Then we honor Srila Prabhupada. This, of course, can be done at home also. Every householder should have a Prabhupada Murti. Not just a lamination, a Murti. If they can find a nice one, some of the brass ones are not very nice. Some of the brass Prabhupada Murtis are not made properly. Prabhupada is looking excessively stern or too grave or crippled or whatever. Some things, some of the smaller brass murtis are not very good, but the resin murtis are nicer. The resin means the plastic murtis are nicer. They're also available, the small ones. They're available from Ujjain Temple. They have got the molds there, and they spread them around the world. Those are better, nicer presentation of Srila Prabhupada than the brass. Many of the brass Prabhupads are not very nice. They're not done properly. They're not showing Prabhupada's mood. Now, of course, the big Murti, on the other hand, is showing Prabhupada's mood of intense meditation on the deities. Wherever these Murtis are placed, he's meditating intensely on the Sri Radha and Krishna. So this is necessary. And householders, they must have their own mini program. All right, the man has to go off to work. Maybe he has to go to work at 8 o'clock. Maybe he has to leave for work at 8 o'clock in the morning. But they should have a mini program, just like at the base centers. They have an abbreviated program. Householders, they should do like that. They should follow the example of the base programs. An abbreviated program. All right, they're short on time. The man gets up at 6 o'clock and goes to work at 8 and grabs, a piece of toast for breakfast. The non-devotees, they just grab a donut and some coffee and run out the door, but devotees are presumably not doing that, They are taking a short version of breakfast and run out the door because they don't want to be late for work. Well, that's the way it is, in household life these days. Of course, that's not what Prabhupada wanted. It's a lengthy subject matter, but Prabhupada wanted full Varnashram Dharma. That his disciples and future generations of devotees should be able to work according to Brahminical standards as much as possible. But unfortunately, we did not establish Daivi Varnashram. That means that we are supposed to have at least 500 fully self-sufficient farm communities, with each farm having a capacity of serving 500 or 800 congregation members, with large numbers of cows producing plenty of first-class milk and ghee, where you don't have to worry about whether it's contaminated by buffalo ghee or pig fat. These wretched cheaters put everything in the ghee these days. There's no place in hell good enough for them, who will contaminate the ghee and sell it as pure desi ghee but contaminated, they're going to scream and shout as they're tortured by the Yamadutas for thousands of years. The sinful reaction is very severe. How can the Brahmins use contaminated ghee for pujas and jagnas? But it's very difficult to find pure ghee these days, and if you can find it, it's very, very costly. Anyway, Srila Prabhupada introduced Grihastra life. But he wanted, by now, what Prabhupada wants, present tense, not just past tense. We should meditate on Srila Prabhupada in the present tense, not in the past tense. In the present tense, what does he want now? 500 farms, minimum, with each farm community fully 100% self-sufficient, not dependent on petrol. This is madness. We don't know when the petrol supply will be sabotaged by terrorists. Can you guarantee? Can you guarantee? They could sabotage very easily. Or other problems, or just plain running out. The scientists, 50 years ago they said that the planet was going to run out of oil in 50 years. They said that 50 years ago. Well, that means we're on borrowed time now, isn't it? Yes, no? We're on borrowed time. It's running out. Well, the only reason we have still petrol, they've discovered some ways of squeezing oil out of shale. Shale is a type of rock. They've discovered some technology for squeezing oil out of that rock called shale. So that's extended the life expectancy of oil on the planet to some degree, but generally it's running out. I mean, I come from California, USA, for example, and millions and millions of gallons of oil they've pumped out of the ground, and so in various places in oil country all over the state, not all over the state, but in many places there are dead oil wells. They, like a sadhu offering dhanabats, up, down, they go up, they have a wheel goes around, and a plunger goes up and down, and pumps oil out of the ground. Looks like sadhu offering obeisances, Unfortunately, it's not pious, There's a lot of dead oil machines just sitting around that don't even bother taking them down, because the supply has run out at that location. So, therefore, we should try to take Prabhupada's instruction as all in all. We have a handful of farms in our propaganda. We brag about farm communities, but sure, what we got? 50 cows that can support 50 devotees, 60 devotees, maybe. Here in Mumbai, you've got one devotee who is very, very supportive of self-sufficient farming and cows. Gajanan Agarwal, he's very committed to cow protection. He's sponsoring several projects involving cow protection. So that's required. Still, we have to develop hundreds of farms, because what's going to happen when the cities begin to wind down? They're not permanent. They won't last. When I asked Srila Prabhupada, and Srimad Bhagavatam says that, and the Bhagavad Gita says rather, that, well, it's in the Bhagavatam also, that prosperity is created only by jagna. And in Bhagavad Gita specifically, anad bhavanti bhutani, that grains are produced by sacrifice. What I said to Srila Prabhupada, I didn't quote the verse, but he knew what I was talking about. But there's no jagna going on, Srila Prabhupada. There's no jagna. What is sustaining all this prosperity? You go into an American supermarket, you wouldn't believe it. Except for the meat department, it's like a heavenly planet. Any kind of jams and jellies from all over the world, real, not fake. In India, unfortunately, it's hard to find a real jam. It's all synthetic, mostly. You can buy it for a high premium, but mostly synthetic. But in America, you can pay some bucks and get real jam made with real fruit. Box cereals, canned goods, rows and rows of canned goods. Fresh produce that is perfect. In America, they have the system, if you buy some produce from the grocery store, from the big grocery chains, if you're not satisfied, you can take it back and exchange it or get a refund. I don't think such a thing will ever happen in India, Anyways, so much vast produce, they import a lot of it. And so many juices and everything, that's why it's like a heavenly planet. So I said to Srila Prabhupada, so what is, I didn't mention supermarkets, but he knew what I was talking about. I said, but there's no jagna to support all of this. What is sustaining it? There's no jagna. So Prabhupada gave me a very ominous answer. The English word ominous means the same as foreboding. That means dark. Sinister is another English word. Very dark, serious answer, spelling out inauspiciousness. This is the meaning of these English words. Foreboding, inauspicious, dark, something bad coming. Like with the sages at Naimisranya, they could see what was coming in Kali Yuga. They could see McDonald's. Do you believe that? You don't believe it. You don't believe that the sages at Naimisranya could see McDonald's? That stretches your poor puppy brain too far. How many of you believe the sages at Naimisranya could foresee McDonald's? One man. They foresaw animal slaughter, but that animal slaughter means McDonald's. Everything. You don't understand. You have notebooks, write it down. Tree, kala, gya. Write it down. Tree means three, like tripod. Like this camera's on a tripod. Tree, kala means time. Gyan means who knows. Past, present, and future. Tree, kala, gyan. See, the Prabhupada was tree, kala, gyan. He knew past, present, and future. Anyways, to finish what Prabhupada told me about this prosperity, he said, it will not last. Very soon it will be finished. You young guys, hate to say it, but I'm just breaking the news to you. It's only a matter of time. No more mobile phones. No more laptop computers. Oh no! No more mobile phones. Oh, I cannot live without mobile phone. Well, in the 1960s, there weren't any mobile phones, and devotees were chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. They were dancing in the streets very nicely, without mobile phones. Krishna Consciousness will go on, without technology, modern technology. It'll go on, but it's going to be a different world when the petrol finally runs out. And all these things are dependent on petrol. The electricity is dependent on petrol. Not just the automobiles, everything. Computer manufacturing is dependent on petrol. Mobile phones are dependent on petrol. You can't manufacture these things without petrol. It's not possible. Oh, maybe it's possible, but they haven't discovered how to do it. So doomed. All this technological sense gratification, especially the younger generation, take it for granted. Doomed. Finished. Sometime, I don't know when, see. I can't say when. But Prabhupada said to me, very soon it will be finished. I was so struck like I was struck by a thunderbolt by Prabhupada's statement was so heavy. I was caught off guard, I wasn't expecting an answer like that. But I was so stunned by his answer, I didn't have the presence of mind to say, but, Srila Prabhupada, what does very soon mean? I mean, his Mahabhagavad situated in eternal time, situated in Krishna Prem. I mean, very soon, his time is not the same as very soon our time, because he's situated in eternity. Well, I asked him this question sometime in the 1970s, so maybe it was 35, 40 years ago I asked him this question, so 40 years was not exactly within the very soon category, but you guys who are into the net, which you are, you can look up, the predictions for petrol supply on the planet. This is good for preaching, not just for sense gratification. Look it up. The predictions for the petrol supply on the planet are very bleak. Bleak means very demonstrating it's not going to last very long, no matter how creative they get by squeezing oil out of shale. No matter how creative they get, it's not going to last. And then the whole modern civilization collapses because it's all dependent on oil, to run all the machines. So, we have to make it a goal. Those of that are younger, you should try to become a leader, become more and more responsible, and help this movement catch up the 45 years that we lost by not developing self-sufficient farm communities. Now, the way the Prabhupada put it was, you can't eat nuts and bolts. That was his assessment of modern technology. You can't eat nuts and bolts. Well, if Prabhupada were physically independent, he'd have to upgrade and say, you can't eat mobile phones. You can't eat laptop computers. Of course, if such gadgets were presented to Srila Prabhupada, he would have been interested. He liked gadgets, providing they could be used properly in Krishna's service. He liked. I was a new devotee, 1969. I took initiation in 1968. So, after I first met Srila Prabhupada, after I first saw him, I became so inspired just by seeing Prabhupada that I thought, I must try to introduce Prabhupada to the world. He wasn't even called Prabhupada yet, he was called Swamiji. So I thought, I must help introduce my Guru Maharaj to the world. So what can I do? I thought, what can I do? I could make a recording of an interview. I'll interview him and make it a recording. And then I thought, so I called up, there's an alternative radio station in the San Francisco Bay Area. They play classical music and they have intellectual programs on current politics, usually a Western, left persuasion, more on the so-called liberal side. And of course, these days we don't trust the liberal at all because they're in favor of, liberals these days are in favor of homosexuality, same-sex marriage. It's out of control. So we're not proponents of liberality exactly. But Mahatma means liberal. Well, real liberality, yes, but not fake, not corrupted, polluted liberality, never. So, but there was this liberal alternative radio station. They would play cultural programs. It was a subscription service. They didn't run advertisements. Subscription service catering to intellectuals. So I thought, well, they might be interested in the Swami. So I called them up. I said, you know, there's a charismatic Swami in town from India, and he has a lot of very interesting things to say. If I make a recording and bring it down to you, will you play it? They said, sure. So I was thrilled. I'm a new devotee, initiated only 1 year, and the radio station says, sure, we'll play the interview with the Swami. So I thought, well, what am I going to ask? You know. Then as the moment for the interview started to arrive, I got a little nervous because I'm going to interview my Guru Maharaj, and you know, I'm a neophyte, and so I was a little nervous. So I consulted with my friend who was Srila Prabhupada's personal secretary. I had been friends with him before joining the movement. I was friends with this devotee who was Prabhupada in the early days, very confidential. Upendra was his name. He left this world, unfortunately. Upendra. And very, very dear to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave him his watch. He didn't give his such personal belongings to everybody, but to Upendra he gave his watch. So I said, Upendra, I have got this interview coming up with Srila Prabhupada, and I'm a little nervous, you know. He said, don't worry, Swamiji will do most of the talking. So I felt some relief. Okay, that sounds good. So then finally I thought, well, what will I ask? So I had 3 questions formulated for 45 minutes or an hour interview. So first question, I don't remember the other questions, but I remember that I asked Prabhupada, he was called Swamiji, he wasn't called Prabhupada yet. Swamiji, there are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita in English already available, why you have made another translation? It's an important question. And he explained, and Upendra was right. He spoke for 20, 25 minutes straight. I didn't have to say anything. I just asked the question, and he said the rest. So, basically he was saying, because, you know, no one has properly presented Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So many theories, so many imposters, so many impersonalists and all that. Not presenting Bhagavad Gita, therefore I have called it Bhagavad Gita as it is, presenting the unpolluted, undiluted message of Krishna. So he spoke like that in answer to my question. So we should try to go for this. Following in the footsteps of advanced souls or transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmabhuta prasanatma na sochiti na kanchati. So this Brahmabhuta platform is quite serious, actually. It means above the material modes. But is that easy? Not exactly. As soon as you overeat, oversleep, even if you're a devotee, or if you deviate with television watching, what is television? Watching other people's sinful activities, isn't it? All right, fine. Maybe you're living a life primarily in goodness. You don't, supposing householders, most devotee householders, they don't drink liquor. They don't eat meat. And they're not cheating on their wife. Well, then why do they take pleasure in watching these things? What are they watching? Fornicators. Women with low-cut dresses embracing some handsome young men, and they like it. You say, Maharaj, really, come on now, you're being too hard. Really? Then how come they watch? There's a professional psychological term, vicarious. Vicarious. Vicarious means you experience through others. You follow? You experience, all right, you're not sinful. At least you're living a life that is primarily in the mode of goodness. You follow the regulative principles. But you're enjoying through others. They're meat eating. Well, you don't eat meat. But you're watching them, they're eating meat. Not every single scene on television are vegetarians. Certainly not. And certainly on television, liquor drinking is very, very common. Unless you show liquor drinking, then how is the film in touch with modern society? People would say, well, it was an okay movie, but it really had nothing to do with modern life. Yes, modern life, that's the problem. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, that's modern life. Drinking liquor, illicit sex. They don't show gambling very much. Gambling is not a very big concern, except the stock market. There are films that show the stock market. And the stock market is certainly gambling. Even some devotees have invested in the stock market and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars or crores of rupees by investing bad investment on the stock market. It is gambling. So gambling is also there. Gambling, meat eating, illicit sex, wine drinking, cigarette smoking. All right, so you don't smoke cigarettes. You don't smoke cigarettes, and why are you watching? I'm talking to the householders. I know yellow boys don't watch television unless it's a special devotional self-improvement program, then devotees will watch ISKCON-produced self-improvement programs, and maybe it's on a television screen, PowerPoint presentations. That's different. That's in relationship to self-improvement towards pure devotional service. Completely different league, different category, not watching fornication. You understand? A modern society is all about how to break the regulative principles in style. I mean, just look at the hoarding boards, They show, buy this apartment and your eating, sleeping, and mating, defending will get better. Isn't it? Yes, no? Maybe? The advertisement, the hoarding boards, although coming into Mumbai, especially in Pune is a development area. I just came from Pune. And so there are hundreds and hundreds of hoarding boards advertising new high-rise apartments. Buy our apartment before it's too late. It's called the takeaway clause. Buy our apartment before it's too late. Oh, we have got the most best place. We got a view. We have a view of a golf course. That's a big deal, They don't tell you that next to the golf course is a slum that you can see from your high-rise apartment also, but they don't tell you that. These things are going on, duplicity. And it's all about how to increase your sense gratification. Nothing about the purpose of human life, nothing. So, we should beware of these things. And as far as following the Vedas is pointed out here, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, the Vedas deal primarily with the modes of material nature. Rise above them, O Arjuna. Yes? No? Maybe? Krishna is warning Arjuna that Vedas deal primarily with the modes of material nature. The Vedas are basically a how to do it, vast, unlimited, how to do it manual encyclopedia. You want to go to the heavenly planets, do this puja, do yajna. You want to do this, you want to get a good wife, you do this puja. These instructions are given. Then not only that, but engineering is given also. Do you know that? How many of you are engineers? Yeah, so do you know that the Vedas is also giving engineering? Do you know that? No. But you need to know this. So you will get deprogrammed from the fake or deviant conception that this is the greatest technology we've ever had today. Lies, fraud. It's not true. If they could come up with the technology of 5,000 years ago that was used in the Battle of Kurukshetra, for example, the modern military would be, the English word is elated. Elated means extremely happy, thrilled. If they could come up with even a portion of the technology utilized at the Battle of Kurukshetra of atomic weapons, their modern atomic weapons, they are very proud of them, missiles and this and that. I mean, Pakistan has about 80 nuclear missiles aimed at India. Yes, you can look it on the net. About 80 nuclear missiles. Don't worry. India has 90 nuclear warheads aimed at Pakistan. It's fine. Peace, love, brother. I think that the best of the Indian nuclear missile is called Agni. The best of the Pakistani nuclear weapon is named after one of the worst butchers that killed the most hundreds of thousands of Hindus. Their best missiles named after this demon. Anyways, that technology is very primitive. We have to consider that technology of Ashwatam through the Brahmastra into the womb of Uttama, the mother of Maharaj Parikshit, and it was surgery. It was meant to kill the embryo in the womb without harming the mother. Well, they don't have that technology. Use a nuclear device, you see, so fine that you could kill an embryo in the womb and not harm the mother. They can name different things, they can try different things, but no. So, Krishna says, the Vedas deal primarily with the modes of material nature. Rise above them, O Arjuna. Krishna also refers to the flowery words of the Vedas. And here it's clearly pointed out that those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge are not subject to the regulative principles directed in the Vedic literature. Hundreds of thousands of rules and regulations. Many thousands of rules and regulations. Srila Prabhupada told us, if you knew all the rules and regulations, you would faint. So he said, chant 16 rounds, follow regular principles, rise early in the morning, eating only Krishna Prasad, observe Ekadasi. And we couldn't do any better than that, hardly, see? Anything on top of that is frosting on the cake, So, we're not followers of the Vedas, really, we're followers of Acharya. We are known as Rupanugas, followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada was Manifest Pastimes, first class follower of Srila Rupa Goswami. So we are following in this way beyond the Vedas, beyond the modes of material nature. So that is meant to be pure devotional service. Anya Vedasata Sunyam Gyana Karmari Anavrata Anokayena Krishna No Bhakti Uttamam. Uttamam means ultimate. It's pure devotional service above the modes of material nature very specifically. So we are meant to follow on that path. And then Krishna may appear within the heart. And he will give dictation. When one takes Krishna in the heart, then he's known as Chaitya Guru, he gives dictation from in the heart. If one takes seriously the lotus feet of Krishna, who is seated within one's heart, the Lord eradicates means wipes out all ignorance. By following Acharya, by following Prabhupada specifically and his representative, bona fide representative, wipes out ignorance. By the torch of knowledge, that's Oma Gina Timanindasya Gina Gina Shalaka Tatsun Midam Gina Tasmai Sri Guru Nama. By the torch of knowledge, one immediately understands everything properly, by the special mercy of Supreme Lord, and becomes self-realized. Well, that's a long subject that I can't address in 1 minute. Who is a self-realized soul? Generally, we presume self-realized soul means Mahabhagavad, who is seeing Krishna face to face, who is always receiving dictation directly from Krishna, who is infallible, does not make mistake. We may presume like that, but self-realized in another sense, everyone sitting here today is also self-realized in the lower sense. Because we know what is the self. Anyone who knows the self knows what is Bhakti Yoga, knows what is Bhakti Marg, knows what is the path of self-realization, know who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That person also may be called self-realized, but low level. In the beginning, low level. And higher level means Mahabhagavat Uttamadhikari. There's a scale. So everyone who hears from Srila Prabhupada, either directly or through representatives, they're also self-realized if they're at all serious. If they're full of nonsense, then they're not self-realized because they're hanging on, committing the 10th offense against the holy name. That is, maintaining material attachment even after so much instruction on the matter. 10th offense. Granti, not in the heart. So, those persons are not transcendental. But by the torch of knowledge, one immediately understands everything properly by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and becomes self-realized in the sense I just described. In other words, although the devotee may externally not be very well educated, see, it's not required, PhD, not required. Because of his devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives him enlightenment from within. If the Lord gives enlightenment from within, how can one be in ignorance? Therefore, the allegation of the Mayavadis or impersonalists that devotional path is for unintelligent or uneducated is untrue. So, if one becomes an unloyal devotee, then they are such a devotee is above the most instructions of the Vedas, and that person is called Paramahansa. Even without going through the Vedic literature, a devotee becomes pure and enlightened by the mercy of the Lord. Therefore, my Lord, the devotee says, I offer my obeisances unto you. So, this is the path that has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, path of pure devotional service. We may struggle to attain it, but at least it has to be a goal. That's the bottom line. Any questions, comments?